everyone, welcome back. Today we'll be taking a look into soon-to-be tropical storm or possibly even Hurricane Francine. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this is, as of right now, called PTC 6, and this is not tropical yet, but it will be fully tropical, most likely around 1 p.m. on Monday. But this is producing tropical storm force wind speeds. So let's take a look at this. This area in the yellow here is where that area of tropical storm force winds are happening. And then this little area of yellow along the coast is tropical storm watches. So that includes some portions of Mexico here. But around 1 p.m. on Wednesday, this is supposed to be a hurricane that will be close to making landfall. But I do want to look at two other systems that we have in the Atlantic Ocean. And I do want to say, sorry if there is any background noise, but it shouldn't be too bad if there is. But first, let's take a look at this system here in the orange. This has a 50% chance to develop into a tropical depression or a tropical storm in the next 7 days. And then this system here in the red has a 70% chance to develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm in the next 7 days, but it also has a 60% chance to develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm in the next 48 hours. So we will need to watch that as well. And both of these systems are going to the west, so we will need to watch for potential impacts across the east coast. But this main system for now is this system in the Gulf of Mexico. But let's take a look at some of our hurricane models on this system. First here is the GFS. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. So if you're not sure what you're looking at, this system is right here. Not a very good circle, but it's all right. But let's keep this model going here. It gets to about a 1003 millibar low pressure around 8 a.m. on September the 9th. But it is already a 1003 millibar low pressure right now, so it is a little delayed. But we are actually getting a GFS run right now. It is not fully loaded in, so we are using the 12Z run from earlier today. But it gets it to about a 999 millibar low pressure around 8 p.m. on September 9th, and this would be on Monday. And then it gets it to a 993 millibar, that'd be borderline category 1, but most likely a strong tropical storm here on Tuesday, that'd be September 10th. And then we will keep this going, and it strengthens rapidly into a 973 millibar category 2, borderline category 3 hurricane here on Wednesday. That's September 11th. And then it strengthens it even more to about a 957 millibar low pressure, almost making landfall on Louisiana on the night of Wednesday. That's September 11th once again. But it moves very, very fast. But it does make a landfall as about a 957 millibar, most likely a strong category 3, maybe even borderline category 4 hurricane, but most likely a pretty strong category 3 hurricane there. And then starts to weaken, but maintains tropical storm status, maybe all the way up into portions of North Arkansas. And then just brings some rain to the south. Next up is the European model. Once again, if you're not sure what we're looking at, our system is right here. This shows it as a 1004 millibar low pressure. It's only about a millibar off, so this is verifying fairly well. It actually shows it weaken a little bit as we go into tomorrow, but then it starts to strengthen it into most likely about a tropical storm here. But this doesn't really develop it too much over the next couple of days. But usually the European model is on the weaker side. But it eventually gets it to a strong tropical storm, and then down to about a category 1, borderline category 2. And then gets it all the way down to about a strong category 2 hurricane around 8 p.m. on Wednesday. as it makes a landfall in Louisiana, according to this model, and then maintains tropical storm status all the way up to about Missouri, and then will just bring some rain for some areas. But next up is the Canadian model. Once again, if you're not sure what you're looking at, this is our system right there. Let's keep this moving. Gets it to strengthen to about a 997 millibar low pressure. It looks like it's about to make landfall in Mexico and then starts heading further north. And then this strengthens it to a 993 tropical storm. But this doesn't really strengthen it as much. And this doesn't keep it, this doesn't make it fully tropical on the Canadian model. But next up is the Icon model. So once again, if you're not sure what you're looking at, this is our system right here in the Gulf. It's verifying pretty well, only about a millibar off once again. And it shows it start to strengthen here around 5 p.m. on September 9th. That's Tuesday. Strengthens it to a strong tropical storm on Tuesday, September 10th. And then it starts to strengthen a little bit more. This would be about a strong Category 1, borderline Category 2 hurricane, as it shows it making landfall in Louisiana, and then maintains tropical storm status as it moves further north. But I do want to look at another system here in the Gulf, so let's take a look at the GFS, or not in the Gulf, in the Atlantic. But if you're not sure where to look, I know it's going to be kind of hard to see, but it is this right here. And that system is actually this system here in the red that would have that chance to develop. But let's continue this. It gets it to tropical storm status, but we will need to move this frame here on the fly. It's a little far out. Excuse me here. Okay, here's our system. Gets it to tropical storm status around 2 p.m. on September 18th. Strengthens this to a most likely strong Category 2 hurricane around September 20th. And then just heads north, doesn't really do too much. And then it has this little system behind it, but not too sure about that. Next up is the European model. Also need to switch this here on the fly. And here's our system around September 13th here. About a weak tropical storm, maybe a tropical depression. Starts to strengthen it. Definitely gets to tropical storm status around September 15th. Starts to strengthen this to most likely major hurricane status around September 17th. Shows it as a 9. It shows me as It shows it as a 948 millibar low pressure, and then it starts to looks like maybe weaken a little bit, but it doesn't really take it out to sea like it would normally do. So we will need to watch if maybe there would be some high pressure or something that would sit over it that would block it and make it. That was not good. And make it go on a path like this. So we will need to watch that system as well. Let's also take a look at the Icon model with this system here. So right now, if you're not sure what you're seeing, sorry for all the stutters. That system highlighted in red is this one, and the system highlighted in orange is this one back here. But let's continue this model here. Gets both of them to strengthen a little bit, and then gets the system in the front. Doesn't really do too much with it for the first little bit, but let's take a look at a previous run so we can go out further. It gets this into the Caribbean. Doesn't really do too much with it, but it seems like it doesn't really want to develop either of these systems here. But I think this one in the back has a lower chance to develop, but the one in the front here has a higher chance to develop, even though not too many models are showing it develop. But last, let's take a look at the Day 2 severe weather outlook we have a marginal risk in portions of New York. This includes Buffalo and Syracuse, New York. This has a less than 2% tornado risk, a 5% wind risk, and then a less than 5% hail risk. But let's take one more look at this system here in the Gulf. It is supposed to strengthen to a tropical storm on around 1 p.m. Monday, and then continue north. Might bring some outer bands to portions of Texas, but then it's supposed to make a landfall here in Louisiana as a Category 1 hurricane, but we will have to watch for it to be possibly stronger than that. And then one more look at these systems back here in the Atlantic. System in the this system in the orange has a 50% chance to develop into a tropical depression or a tropical storm in the next 7 days. And then this system here in the red, once again, with a 70% chance to develop into a tropical depression or tropical storm in the next 7 days, but also has a 60% chance to do so here just in the next 2 days. So with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one, everybody. Have a good one.